Hello, and welcome back to the Test Drive Podcast, brought to you by Sport Car USA. I'm your host, Lee Bodette. Here at Sport Car USA, we love all things fast. From stock Corvettes to tuned-up Hellcats, we love it all. So buckle up and come for a ride on this week's episode of Test Drive. Hi, everybody. I'm Lee Bodette, your host of this Test Drive podcast. I've been a host of Test Drive on the YouTube channel for a couple of years now, radio broadcaster for 40 years. I've got my own show on 98.9 WOKO called The Radio Flea Market, and that's every Sunday between 8 and 11. Also, the frontman host for Sport Car USA and a car enthusiast by entire life. With me is Scott Nickerson. Scott is also from Sport Car USA.
How's it going, Lee?
It's going very, very well. We jotted down a few notes here and thought we'd just kind of go over a few different topics on cars, which we both love very, very much. We'll be talking about our first dream car, our first car story. We're going to talk about how cars are going to look in the future, muscle car industry, what's that all about, what's it going to be. And that's just a couple of the many topics that we'll be talking about today. So to begin with, the muscle car industry. Sport Car USA buys and sells muscle cars throughout the country and beyond. A lot of people concerned as to how the muscle car industry will be looking moving forward.
Yeah, there's the impending doom of V8s going away.
Really hard to believe.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Seems like it's come up very sudden, too. Like all of a sudden, these manufacturers are just getting rushed to their final production years and stuff.
There's no question the EVs are coming. They're already here. EV charging stations are going up everywhere. But still, the demand and the supply, I believe there's a huge problem. I just can't see it happening in the near future. Maybe I'm totally wrong on this, but I'm not against EVs at all. Yes, we love modern muscle cars, but I got to tell you,
it's just not there yet.
It's fully not there yet. Yeah. And if I were looking for an EV/hybrid, I would go hybrid because you don't have to plug it in.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like right in the middle. You're going to get fantastic gas mileage without plugging it in.
Right.
So,
yeah, a lot of the issues with EV sports cars, like there's no doubt that they are going to be faster and quicker just because of the way the science works, right? Like electric motors, there's instant torque, and you don't have to cool an engine, and there's just a lot. The way they work is a lot different, so that there's able to be higher performance ceilings. But the roar of the engine is like a big reason. The smell of burning gas is like a big reason people love muscle cars.
Yeah, can you do a burnout with an EV?
Oh yeah, yeah. They have all kinds of features.
Yeah.
I was moving a Tesla to one of our other lots recently. Model 3 that we had, and you go through the menus and it's got drift mode. So, And
what does drift mode do?
I didn't try it out. No. Not on the clock,
We know that the new Corvette's coming out as a hybrid.
Yep.
It's going to be a hybrid Corvette, which just blows me away. A lot of this blows me away. It's just so hard to believe. Like you said, it seems like it's coming up really, really quickly on us. Mm-hmm. We've talked about the Camaro ending their production after 2024. The Challenger ending their production.
Yeah, and the Challenger is the biggest one that's going out with a bang. They're doing the 170, which is going to be an over 1,000 horsepower drag street legal car that anyone can go buy off the lot.
And I would say with Sport Car USA, Scott, maybe you would agree with me, maybe not, that the Challenger is probably the most popular modern muscle car that we have sold.
Yeah, we've a lot of those and GT350s. Those are huge.
Yeah, Sport Car USA just received a 392 Challenger.
Yep.
I'm not sure the year of that. Maybe a 21?
I'm not 100% sure. It's the blue one we have down in the showroom.
It only has like 300 miles on it.
Yeah, we basically got it right off a showroom floor, had it flatbedded up here. Just today, we got a 2018 Hellcat. It's in yellow, black hood, manual transmission. Super cool.
The philosophy here at Sport Car USA is if we have to sit on these cars, we're going to sit on them. Yeah. We are a specialty automotive dealership, if you will. We have a warehouse. We don't care if some of these cars sit for 2, 3, 4, 5 years because somebody's going to want them. And guess what? They are not going to depreciate in value because of the EVs coming.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see people who own those last year models, what the market looks like with those just by owning them, if they're going to appreciate a ton or if they're going to kind of just hold their value. But it'll be interesting. Like you said, 2024 is a lot kind of the year that a lot of these cars are going to be stopping. And in the Camaro, they're going out with a special edition. The 6th generation Camaro is going to be the last one. Although I don't think it'll be the end. I think that it's just like fashion, you know?
Yeah.
Things will come back. And I don't think we're going to see the end of these combustion vehicles. I find it hard to believe.
I agree. And if they do come back as an EV, faster, quicker than ever before,
right,
they probably will keep the nameplate Camaro and Challenger.
Right. So yeah, the Dodge has their EV. It's the Charger. I think it's a work in progress, but I think it's a Charger Banshee. So it looks more like the old style Chargers, like back when they were like classic muscle. But they've got an emulated engine noise that sounds like a cat. Because like the Hellcat sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
But you just don't have the engine sound, and I think that's people like aftermarket exhaust companies. I don't know if it was true or not, but I saw that some aftermarket companies are now switching to people who do exhaust. People are going to be switching to like speaker integration and integrating things so that they can remain in the industry with exhaust type work, but for EVs.
Yeah, that is very interesting. If you've ever been to one of our Sport Car USA events, our showcases, they definitely, you're going to hear some loud noise at one of our showcases. We got another one coming up in just a couple of weeks here.
A week from tomorrow.
It's at the Sport Car USA upper campus, if you will, off of exit 20 in St. Albans, a Highgate Road, and there's a Toyota and a Chevy dealership. Clear the entire lot, and then all the muscle cars will be coming in.
Hopefully it's loud. I'd love to do a thing where we start all the cars on the lot at once.
That would be cool.
That'd be super cool.
I think I can make that happen.
Yeah?
Yeah. Have you heard anything about the Mustang?
No. Well, they just came out with a new Mustang, or they announced it. I think it's coming out in 23 or 24. So I'm not 100% sure what they're doing with that. I mean, they already have their EcoBoost. So they have different things like that. I mean, the Chargers, they have a V6 version. Challengers, they have a V6 version. So a lot of these cars, they have a smaller engine version. But the Camaro, back to that, there's no longer going to be a turboed 4-cylinder. So the start point for Camaros is going to be, it used to be under 30,000 you could get into a Camaro. It's still a Camaro body style wise, but not the V8. But now you can't even get the 4-cylinder. So
you think about some of the muscle cars that went away and came back, like the Charger, the Challenger, the Camaro. Mustang? No.
It's always been there.
It's always been. Even though there was a Mustang 2, which is an embarrassment.
Yeah.
That was because of the energy crisis in the early 80s or late 70s.
It was there. It
was still a Mustang.
Same like we talked about before, the Viper. It came and went multiple times. Corvettes have always stayed around, though. I don't think they've taken really a production break.
No, not since the early 50s.
And like you were saying, like the Corvettes are now a hybrid model, but they're still keeping that V8.
Yeah.
But you're getting all-wheel drive because they're adding EV hybrid engines to the front wheels. So that's like a really cool tactic on how to kind of go towards that more energy efficient route, but then still keep the power. And it's 2.5 seconds 0 to 60.
That's crazy. My Corvette, my 2020 Corvette, is 0 to 60 in 2.8. It's hard for me to grasp my arms around the fact that these EVs are faster and quicker than a combustion engine.
Right. Sub 2 second 0 to 60s.
Just crazy. Yeah, absolutely crazy.
And there's a point where there's diminishing returns. Like you can only go so fast, right? Like before science takes over and you can't generate enough traction or.
I remember when the Corvette went to the mid-engine in 2020, a lot of people said, hey, that's not a Corvette. They should have named it something else. And now with the new Corvette hybrid coming out, I've heard of some shows already saying, you aren't coming here with that vehicle.
Yeah,
You are not allowed.
We're kind of trying to keep our car showcases to combustion vehicles only, just to kind of keep that spirit alive. As like we talked about, it's kind of fading out. But yeah, a lot of these shows are eliminating EVs as entries.
Will there ever be a self-driving sport car?
Well, there's a lot of really cool. That's another rabbit hole you can go down, is self-driving vehicles, where there's in some large metropolitan areas, you can get in a taxi that has no driver.
I don't want to be in that taxi. I'm sorry. I just don't want to be in that taxi.
I think I'm super interested in it just because like the technology is insane, but also it is a little bit scary that.
Well, I got to tell you, there's a commercial.
You just have to trust the machine.
There's a commercial out right now, and I won't say who it's for, but it's a truck, and they're going down the road, and they're clapping their hands without anybody touching the driver or the steering wheel, excuse me, and they're singing along. And number one, why would you want to do that? What do you do with your hands besides clapping and playing music? Maybe it's a possessive type of feeling that I have here. I've got to be hanging onto that steering wheel. But right. To see people in a full-size truck going down the highway, clapping and playing music and singing to it without touching the steering wheel, I'm just not ready for that.
Yeah, that's another thing that's happened relatively quick. I mean, you think about when the first Tesla came out, I don't even think it's been 10 years since EVs have been somewhat in the mainstream. And those self-driving cars are also very new technology. So they've worked out a lot of bugs, and it's progressed super fast. So it'll be cool to see what it's like in 5 years' time. But right now, it is a little bit scary. And
they have had accidents. They've had people getting hurt with those self-driving cars.
Yeah.
I just don't really understand why anybody would want that. With the technology, they're probably, it's like robotics, right? It's just like robotics, like the robots in the factories that have replaced hardworking people. They can do it quicker, they can do it faster, and
they don't get tired.
And it's much, much cheaper for the manufacturers to employ a robot, if you will. It's kind of sad, but I'm thinking the same thing with a self-driving car. They're thinking with the technology that they have, we can make this road safer by having self-driving cars.
Yeah, I think that fully autonomous vehicles are not something that I would ever really want. Just because I enjoy driving, I enjoy steering and braking and accelerating and cornering. I think that's what makes cars fun. If you look at them like that, if you view them as just like a transport thing, then maybe assisted driving or self-driving cars are something that you'd be more interested in.
Yeah, and there's an airplane company that has moved into Vermont, which is where we're broadcasting and where we're based out of in Sport Car USA. It's going to be a hybrid airplane. It's originated in California. I believe it's Beta Technologies is the name of it. So they're going to have a hybrid airplane. Now, not a pilotless airplane. I haven't heard anything about these flying by themselves.
Well, they do have autopilot, but not. That's one thing I don't think I'd trust. Fully autonomous plane.
Yeah, I just don't know about a hybrid airplane either.
Yeah, that's interesting. But I mean, you think about how much fuel they burn.
Yeah.
Adding electric to them makes sense.
Environmentally, it makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, and they're expensive. I'm sure you'd save on plane tickets if that technology develops further. Planes would be less expensive to operate in theory. I mean, there's repair costs and battery costs and all that, but
this company's located at our local airport, Burlington International Airport in South Burlington, Vermont. And they, as I mentioned, they came from California. They're expanding. People from all over the country are moving to Vermont to work for Beta Technologies. It's fascinating, but I don't think I want to be the first one on that first flight.
Maybe not the first one. Maybe the second one.
A lot of people are saying, Lee, come on. You're acting like you're an old man. Go for it. Yeah, well, I am old. Yes, that's good. Thank you very much, Scott.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so how will cars look in the future? How will they look? They still look pretty good. Like the Corvette hybrid looks pretty good from the pictures I've seen.
It's just interesting with EVs specifically because the shape of them is different because they don't need a spot for an exhaust to exit, so the rear bumpers are just a solid piece of plastic. I think a lot of companies, the fronts, like the front grills and stuff, they always are something obscure. They always look not like you'd expect a normal car front to look.
Right.
Which I always found interesting. Like, why do they need to look different? Like, why can't they just operate differently?
Yeah, you can tell when an EV vehicle is behind you, coming up on you.
They look different.
The whole front is like lit up.
Yeah.
And it's usually all the way across.
Yeah, they usually have big light bars.
Which is bizarre, but there must be something to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what do you do when the EV vehicle won't start? Do you get jumper cables?
Yeah,
I don't think you do.
Emergency battery packs.
Yeah, something like that. When you're out and about with your own current vehicle that's not an EV, you carry jumper cables with you, right? So I guess you would carry a spare battery pack with you. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's some vehicles that have worked on getting like an emergency battery source that's kind of not connected to the main system, but it's like a secondary battery. Right. But like certain cars have 2 batteries too.
Right.
I know Jeeps are one of those that have like a battery that's just for the accessories of the vehicle, so that if you're running the radio and you kill the battery, you can still start the car.
Well, hybrid vehicles going to have 2 as well. The hybrid battery and then the your regular standard car batteries.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. There's going to have to be different services that'll come and jump your EV. I don't know how that would work.
Who knows? Well, I guess we're going to find out sooner than later. That's for sure.
It's coming.
It really is. Dream car. What's your dream car, Scott? As we get off these EVs a little bit.
I know. I think, although I think those are really cool, I think that just by working here, the Dodge Charger has become one of my favorites. Since I was a little kid, I've always loved Corvettes. And I think the Corvette that you have in that red color is beautiful. I've always loved canary yellow. So I think one of the newer canary yellow Corvettes, I don't think they make them in that color. I think that was an old school color, but those Corvettes and the Chargers, they're so practical looking.
Yeah, you would have loved my 2014 Corvette Stingray in canary yellow.
I love that color. I don't know why.
Gorgeous. And you know what's really changed a lot also is that not many years ago, to really spruce up a car, you'd put chrome rims on it.
Ugh.
Now it's gone full circle. It's like the dark or the black rims that are going on these vehicles.
Yep.
And I must say, I was a chrome rim guy because I'm older. My son, who's 40 now, told me, Dad, he said to me, like, go with the black rims.
Yeah, we don't do chrome anymore.
Chrome just doesn't look good. And I'm here like, what are you talking about? Chrome makes it sharp and elegant and gorgeous. Now, I'm kind of gone away from the chrome rims.
Yeah, I prefer like flat colors.
Right.
The wheels on my car are just matte black.
Yeah. Well, like the Challengers with that flat black hood and roof and trunk area.
Yep.
A lot of those have that matte finish
down there.
Yeah, and they make a special matte protectant, and I don't even know if it's a wax, but when I had
you can't with matte. You can't do regular wax.
Exactly. Exactly. You'll ruin it big time. And I've noticed on some of the Challengers that we've had in the past here at Sport Car USA, some of them seem to have some weather damage. Obviously, not everybody has a garage, and it makes you wonder how long that matte black finish, and that is a stripe, isn't it? It's kind of like an adhesive
on stripe. Yeah, like
it's not
like a wrap or no, I believe it's like a vinyl stripe.
So when I had my 392, I had a yellow 392 Challenger, and I did buy some special protectant for that matte black finish. It's important. It seemed to work really well.
Yep.
Really well. So
yeah, that's my dream car.
That's your dream car?
What about you, Lee?
I don't know. I've owned so many vehicles, and I always say that if I had all the money that I lost with all the car trades I've made,
that negative equity,
I would have retired probably 15, 20 years ago. But I still have car payments, and I still love vehicles. My dream car, I never was a Corvette person, but I've owned 2 now. I really, really like my 2020 C8, and I love my 2014 Corvette Canary Yellow Stingray. I like some of the older muscle cars, 442 Oldsmobiles. Chevelles. Those are really, really sharp. Never been a Plymouth Chrysler type guy, even though I've owned a couple of Challengers. As I've gotten older,
You've hit just about everything. Right?
I think I have.
Camaro, Corvette, Mustang.
But I usually stay American. I don't know how many foreign cars I have owned. I'm sure I have.
Well, Toyotas.
Yeah, Toyotas, yeah.
That's a Japanese brand.
Absolutely, absolutely. But for the most part, it's been modern muscle for me, and muscle in particular. I really can't specify a specific car.
You gotta pick one.
Yeah.
I know that's an impossible task, but
It is. I guess probably either one of those Corvettes would be right up there as number one, maybe number two, and not necessarily in any particular order.
what would you get next if you were to trade your Corvette today? Is there anything that's worth try?
For something new or something that's older?
Both.
Both.
Yeah, either one.
Either one, Scott says. I did mention if I could get a Chevelle or a 442 Oldsmobile, that would be great. I've got a 66 Mustang now in the garage. It's really basic. It's cool. I've got the entire history of it, but it's nothing that's great to drive. It's got the drum brakes and the bias-ply tires. I made it just the way it came off the factory floor.
Is it a V6?
It is a V6, yeah, so it's not a 289. It's kind of a boring car, but it's a great, great looking car in candy apple red and beautiful white vinyl top. So that's just kind of a vehicle that I grew up seeing on the streets all the time. I won't tell you how old I am, but there were a lot of Mustangs when I was growing up out on the streets that looked just like that. Favorite car, though, I guess I got to go with the Corvettes. I think I'm going with the Corvettes. I've had some Firebirds that were just amazing.
Yep.
Trans Ams.
I know you've been eyeing that Orange Fury.
Yeah, the
GT350.
But I did own a GT350 in the cement color, kind of lunar rock color. I did own one of those. Very loud, very fun to drive. But again, not a great riding car. But I don't think you buy those cars because, I want a nice ride.
They're not a daily driver.
No. You drive them because they're loud and they're fun and they're fast. That's why you get a modern muscle car.
Right.
In my opinion. Your first car, Scott.
Well, I'm not to the level. I'm not at Lee level yet with my cars. My first car was just a basic Corolla. I got a 2018. I leased it. It was my first car. And I got another Corolla after that, and then I got the V6 Camry now, which is a little bit more fun. So we're slowly stepping up. So maybe the next one will be a little bit more fun.
So you see, we've got generations. Years apart with cars that you like and I like, etc. But my first car was a Corolla.
Really?
It was a Corolla, and it was going to be a Volkswagen Bug. Tell you the story on that one.
I'm glad you got the Corolla.
My dad had gone away deer hunting, and I was looking for my very first car. I was only 16 years old.
And what year was this?
We won't go in there. We won't go there. But I was looking for my very first car, and I found one. And my dad was away for deer hunting for like a week or two. It was a Volkswagen Bug, clean as a whistle. I can't tell you the year it was, but it was white. It was gorgeous. And my dad had a big thing against vehicles with engines in the rear because he did not feel they were very safe.
Now you have a...
That's true. Now I've got a Corvette
Full circle.
mid-engine. So he probably would have a fit if he knew that I wanted to buy that Volkswagen Bug with the engine in the rear. Guess what? My sister said, just buy it, Lee. I'll give you the down payment money because back then you just couldn't use a card or write a check. You had to actually get the money out of the bank. And and I don't even think the banks were open on Saturdays that many years ago. I went, I put a deposit down on it. I loved it. I was so excited, but I was also in the back of my mind wondering what my dad's going to say. He's going to kick my butt when I get home because I bought a Volkswagen Bug. What happened? The guy calls me up, who I put the deposit down, says, I'm sorry, but the car got totaled over the weekend and you won't be able to buy it. Told that to my mother and sisters, other siblings, and they said, you know what, Lee? I bet that car did not get totaled. I bet he found another buyer who's not 16 years old.
Yep.
Because that was kind of a coincidence, wasn't it? How he would total the vehicle the next day. So I think he found another buyer. So didn't get in trouble with my dad.
There you go. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise.
Maybe it was. And we mutually found a Toyota Corolla down the street, a couple blocks away. I can't tell you the year of it again, and I won't. But it was an automatic little 2-seater Corolla. I guess it had a backseat. I don't know. And that was the car I took to senior graduation. A red Corolla.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think I paid $1,200 for it.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's interesting that we both had Corollas.
That is very, very interesting. Maybe we're related.
Yeah.
Probably not, right? Yeah. Well, we've gone through a number of different topics here today. Scott, is there anything you want to add?
I don't think so. If you're hearing this before June 16th, check out our website, sportcarusa.com. If you're in the area, come out to our showcase. And if you're not in the area, make sure to check out our YouTube channel where we'll put all the highlights.
We want to remind everyone that Sport Car USA specializes in modern muscle cars. This is a trademark, Sport Car USA. Nobody else can use Sport Car USA except us. And if you're looking for a sport car, if you have one to sell, how do they get a hold of us?
SportCarUSA.com has all our contact info on there. You can also check us out on Facebook.
We might even show you a video on our secret located warehouse.
Yeah, I'd love to do a little warehouse tour.
That would be fun. We should do one of these podcasts with a secret located warehouse. Nobody knows where it is except employees of Sport Car USA.
Of course.
Yeah, and it's filled with a lot of modern muscle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is Lee Bodette, your host of Test Drive Podcast. We want to thank all of you for listening. Scott Nickerson, also from Sport Car USA, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Lee.
And we want to thank everybody for listening, that's for sure. Make sure you check out our Test Drive series on YouTube, as Scott was mentioning. And we'll see you next time on our Test Drive podcast. And remember, let's never forget the men and women serving this great country of ours. Goodbye, everybody.